Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, whatever time of day you are watching this clip video. Depends on how long we talk. This is the Victor Roll Wrestling podcast. Whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on YouTube, we're just going to clip it this time around. We won't end up on Spotify. We've sat down during our normal time and we've gotten deep into thought. With Before we go into all of that, though, I am the storyteller Alex Braddock, and joining me as always.
I am never ready, Dylan Gilbert, trying to get a gimmick over that is probably not going to work. But here we are. You've read the title to the video. Let's get into this thing, man.
Yeah. Like I said previously, we just sat down on our normal recording. We've put out two videos that we absolutely loved.
Oh yeah,
We put out a fun little predictions video for AEW Wrestle Dream, and we've also put out the recap video for AEW Wrestle Dream that we recorded in the wee hours of the morning,
I think it was only like
maybe slightly
11:30.
more inebriated than we needed to be. But we made it work. Everything was fine. But we both loved those videos. And then
Yeah,
we sit down to record this one, and I will not lie, and I cannot speak for Dylan, but there's just a slight disconnect between being on a computer in my own home and Dylan being in his own home as well. Whether it's internet issues, whether it is hiking fees for the platform that we are on,
I'm looking at you, Streamyard.
uh, it's shenanigans, bud.
It is.
And we're just realizing, hey, after this week, there's wasn't a whole lot. AEW, we honestly thought about recording a podcast episode for a recap and just not talking about AEW the whole time because everything that they did was building up to Wrestle Dream, and we just recapped all of that yesterday.
And I think we hit the high spots in that reaction video. And I think as much as there's times I like to sit down and gather my thoughts on a show and then talk about it afterwards, like it's never going to be as fresh and clear in your head as immediately after. And I think these last two videos we've done immediately after these podcasts have been so much fun because you're still feeling what the show made you feel. You're still excited, you're still shocked, you're still whatever, and that emotion is so pure, and there's something to that I think you capture the purest form of what we're doing when we're in those moments where we are excited or we are angry or we are whatever they're trying to make us feel. And so I mean there is a disconnect when you wait 2-3 days and then talk about it.
Absolutely. And with the whole recap situation that we see, um, there is the disconnect between pay per views, but there's fatigue. I mean, if I'll be honest as the person slightly running this podcast. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched a live TV show, and I'm the one recapping it every week.
Yeah.
Typically, we have gotten to the point, or at least I've gotten to the point, that I just look up the results online and I hit the big points. And in full honesty, that sucks for viewers and listeners because that isn't our kind of shtick. We said we were a recap. We are not just a breaking news podcast.
But I mean, to
Um,
pull that curtain to the side a little bit, if you've noticed that like Dynamite is the show that gets talked about the most, it's because that's the one that we're consistently watching every week. And I watch Raw when I can, and sometimes now that it's moved down to 2 hours, it's easier.
yes,
But like when you're taking a 3 hour show in every week, it can be a lot, especially we have jobs and wives and lives and all these other things. And so like you're watching clips. I think Cardona talked about it on Major Pod. Like he keeps up with everything that's going on in the business and still doesn't watch shows. He watches through clips, and I think that's good to know what's going on. But also, you can't defend these points as passionately or discuss these topics as in depth as we want to if we're what we see is 45 seconds to a minute of a 5 minute segment.
it's true.
So
So let's go back to the topic of this video. Is this the end of the Victor Row Wrestling podcast? No, it is not. In full honesty, and I'll just go ahead and say it here, we believe that this will be the growth of the Victory Row Wrestling YouTube channel.
Yes.
We have loved every video that we have put out, and the only thing that has started to fatigue us is getting together every Sunday and recording the recaps because we just put so much effort into finding the hot points, recapping it, and what fatigues us, or at least myself, is that I have to hit these points and feel like I care even though I didn't see them.
Right.
And so we are now going to take a small step back. And by a small step back, I just mean as of right now, the recaps or the podcast, however you technically want to classify what we call the recaps every week, are going to take a back seat at the very least until the end of the year. Like we said earlier, we're still trying to figure out our platform, what we enjoy doing. I said we enjoy being in person, so we have to, if that's going to be a thing from now on, we need to figure out where we're going to record in person together, or it may just have to be on our computers once a week, and we'll figure that out as well. We'll get it sorted, we'll get it figured out. But the recaps themselves are taking a back seat. Like I said earlier, though, I am full-heartedly believing in the fact that we are about to grow this YouTube channel because we're not getting together every week to record videos or record a podcast. We can record normal videos. So our hot take hangouts, our wrestling match watch-alongs with special guests. We have plenty more content lined up. I'm a dumb trivia guy. So maybe it's just testing Dylan and maybe another special guest on their wrestling trivia.
Boy,
Maybe
I wonder
it's
who.
pulling in other people and other podcasters to do different videos. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we are taking. I think we're taking this time. We're trying to find our voice, find our audience, and I think if you pay attention to where content is, how many hour-long wrestling recap podcasts do you see versus how many like 15-minute videos reacting to what's going on, or pay-per-views, or pay-per-view predictions, pay-per-view reactions. And so maybe that's where we need to go. Maybe that's the direction this takes. And if we try that and it doesn't work, maybe we go back to the long form.
Yeah, I mean, and anyone in life knows that attention spans are short and trends do not stick. So, like Dylan said, maybe we go back to a long form here in 6 months because that's the popular thing now. But right now, it's easier on us to record 15, 20, maybe even 30-minute videos at max to put up on a YouTube channel. And the fact that we can have fun topics that we can BS about on those videos versus being strictly tight to a recap video is going to help us out a lot to make better and more entertaining content for everybody out there. Because I will say one last time, I have utterly enjoyed the Bad Blood recap that we did right here in front of this bookshelf with our special guest Dale Springs. Check out that video.
I
I
definitely
enjoyed
said
sitting down last night, as of this recording, and playing back the video between you and I, just talking scoreboards and predictions and this, that, and the other.
I said then, and I mean it again. When we recorded that video with Dale, it's like that might be one of my favorite things we've ever done. And then I can't wait to see what you do as far as like the editing and stuff on the one that's I guess out right now as we record. I haven't
It
had
is
time to
out.
watch.
It uploaded about 5 minutes ago, so
So,
we'll see what happens.
but I just filming that last night, like I had so much more fun doing that. And if we're not having fun, how are we expecting anybody to be entertained? If we're not enjoying what we're saying the same way, how are
It's
we
true.
supposed to expect you to?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think this is kind of going to be us finding what we like to do the most and what we get the most enjoyment out of, and then the hope is that you as the fans, followers, listeners, whatever, enjoy it more, and that we find more of you and we find more like-minded people.
Very much so. Well, I was going to say a takeaway, but I'm pretty sure that's it. Dylan, you got anything else to say, bud?
No, man. If you enjoy what we're doing, hang on through this next little transitional period. I know these can be kind of odd, but the hope is that like we're gonna make better content out of this, and like more will come of this. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And because our transitions are never changing. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been Alex Braddock. You can find me on the Alex Braddock or Alex Braddock on social medias. Dylan, where can they find you, my friend?
you can find me running around the ring for Pro Wrestling 225 Unleashed on YouTube. And then, Dylan Gilbert on social media.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Victor Row Wrestling Podcast is not going anywhere. YouTube is starting off strong because it is always a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, or good night. Thank you all for watching.
And the victory roll is fine.